could go hiking, biking, and be outside. You're not restricted to have to be in this. Try not to think of the future as this cold Hollywood drama system. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be beautiful, colorful, organic, more free time to go outside and play.
One more thing, you'll be surprised that most of the prophets, they used to go to caves in nature, and they have their own time with themselves, with nature, to be inspired. We have noticed this in most of the prophets, by the way.
Right.
So it's a phenomenon, maybe it has to be
right.
studied.
I mean, humans have a symbiotic connection with the planet. We really are. We're creatures on this world sharing it with other creatures. We need to get back to that. So, but we advocate, and I advocate as the Venus Project, not reverting to a primitive state of living to accomplish that, but using advanced technology to provide abundance for the globe and give ourselves free time to go do that. There's a difference between the two concepts. And so that's where we're coming from, is to use what we've invented, our fantabulous brains, in helping the entire world have that capability and that free time. Recreation. Given costs are no object, recreation of all forms are readily available for all the time. So if you want to go to the opera in Sydney, you can, whenever you want. You don't have to worry about paying for the ticket or any of that. I mean, now some people would spend a lot of time traveling the world. A lot of people ask what would motivate people. And actually, I don't remember if I put it on this handout or not, but there's a lecture by Daniel Pink on a TED conference that talks about the fallacy that money is a motivator, but that's not really the case. Money motivates maybe mechanical, robotic tasks that a person would do. If you paid them more, they'd behave a little faster. But it's actually the complete opposite when it comes to creative thinking and abstract thought. The more pressure there is for more money to do the job faster, the worse they actually perform. Because it's a constriction, it's a mental block. Like, oh, if I don't think of this idea or I don't do this, I'm not going to get paid this particular amount of money. But you don't have to worry about that stress. Your mind is more free to process in a different way than it does with that monetary stress added to the system. And it was actually very surprising for the scientists. They didn't expect that at all. They did it in America, then they thought maybe that was an anomaly, so they did it in Europe. The exact same thing happened. So there's just this connection that we have. And so, you know, people would be motivated to work on what they enjoy and have the freedom to recreate as they wish. Thanks to advanced transportation, global travel, easy, fast, and convenience. So I kind of covered that. Did I hear somebody?
Yeah. And does it mean that the luxury will be eliminated because probably you cannot travel in luxury, a lot of luxurious apartments to everybody?
Well, the word luxury would actually lose its meaning. Everybody would have.
But there probably would be some limit because.
The only limit would be the natural carrying capacity of the Earth's resources. And that's a limit that we're dealing with now. The Earth is finite. We only have so much stuff on this rock. So the only real limit to human growth and what we're capable of providing for humanity are the natural limits of the Earth. And no matter what kind of ego a human may have, anybody has, you're not going to win that battle with the Earth. She's going to win every single time. So what we have to do is develop a system that measures and accounts for the entire resources of the planet and tries to figure out the best, most equitable way to manage those resources for people so that it is efficiently used. So that would be the primary restriction, is nature, what nature provides you. Not what a politician says, not what you can afford, but what nature says is possible. And when we run into a challenge where we don't have enough resources or something to that effect, that's where innovation, ingenuity, science, and technology comes into play and says, okay, how do we overcome this challenge? How do we develop a new system to use what we've got better so that we can provide? The goal is always to try and provide for everyone. It's selfless self-interest. So that's, you know, doing more for others. And as a science geek, I can instantly go to asteroid mining which is a viable technological option. One asteroid, one average-sized asteroid in the asteroid belt has more iron ore on it than every amount of iron that's ever been mined in the history of humanity. All right? I want you to think about that for a second. One asteroid has more on it than everything we've ever mined. Think of all the buildings you see and the skyscrapers and all the metal that we've used throughout the course of human history. Nothing compared to that. And we can go and get that. We have the technical capability to go and do that. First it'd be small, but as we invested proper brain power and ingenuity into it, it will become a more robust system. You want to ask us something?
Yeah, I think the only problem is that nature gives us deadlines, don't it? Isn't it?
Nature what?
Give us deadlines.
Deadlines?
Yes. Basically, if we don't act fast in relation to what's happening now,
Right.
life on Earth is gonna...
Nature does give us deadlines. Like George Carlin says, the planet's going to be fine. It's humans that are screwed. I mean, the planet's been around for 4 billion years, and it'll be around until the sun expands and vaporizes it. So what matters is what are we going to do to ensure that we maintain a positive symbiotic relationship with the spaceship we are riding. Arts become robust and plentiful since artists at heart no longer have to set aside their talents and passions so they can work an unfulfilling job just to pay the bills and live a decent life. Can you imagine what the arts would be like around the world if all the artists were able to come out of the woodwork and, share their passions with the world, the music, the paintings, the sculptures, anything I haven't even thought of yet? My wife is an artist, and I can just imagine what she would come up with if she didn't have financial restrictions. Community. With such a positive living condition and a significant amount of time available, the social creature known as the human being is free to interact and enjoy their community. Families, friends, colleagues, and the world's people are at their fingertips, available to learn from and grow and to grow and share the joys of life with. No utopias. I know I kind of touched on this already, but it was kind of, the conversation led that way. There are always going to be problems to address and ways to improve. That's how we get better. That's how we become more sustainable. That's how we grow and advance and expand as a species. But I go back to proper tools. In the space shuttle program, it's a very unique vehicle. You can't just go to the Sears store and get a crescent wrench or some kind of tool and go work on every aspect of the shuttle.
So, have you been out of the Earth, like, have you reached space?
Oh, have I? No, I'm not an astronaut. I just work with the space shuttle program. I want to, though. So, but the space shuttle, sometimes we have to develop our own special tools to handle whatever problem there was. Fortunately, the space program has the toolbox. It's set up. It's functioned as a toolbox. Allows them to create their own tools. They have that in the budget. They have the availability to do so. So our society needs a better toolbox. And it's emergent society versus established society. Throughout the course of human history, we have always set up established societies. Hunter-gatherers, that's an established society. Then you move on to agricultural, that's an established society. Then you have your political establishments, your monarchies, and your democracies, and your establishments that are set up. What they don't do, and by the way, I'm totally in fan of democracy, but in this particular case, it'd be more of a direct democracy. No longer electing political officials to speak for you. You are given all of the information freely and are able to make an informed decision, which doesn't really happen today for a lot of people. They are not paying attention. They are told what they should think instead of learning what they should think. So you have an emergent society versus an established society. Emergent society basically means that it loves change. It thrives on change. It wants people to invent the next best thing. It wants somebody to make an old bad system obsolete so that the better system can be put into place. An established system wants to keep things the way they are. Status quo, we're good enough. There's no such thing as good enough. There's always ways to improve. And that is all. Does anybody have any additional questions?
Waste management.
Waste management. That's going to get a lot deeper than what I had planned for, but let me see if I can summarize it. We do a terrible job now of recycling, reusing, and managing the resources from the products that we make. We give a lot of lip service to, oh, we recycle, and so we don't really do it on a robust, intensive level like we should. That would be inherently part of this system. So I guess you have to redefine what is waste and what you produce in the first place so that it doesn't become waste. It all matters on what you make, the materials that you make products out of, how sustainable, how long lasting are they? Do you make a product like today that breaks in 3 to 4 months so that they can sell you the new item? Or facilitate the revenue for their service department so you have to call them and send a technician out, which costs you $70 to fix this thing, when it would have been nice if they had just built it right the first time and made it from the most high-tech, strong, robust materials possible so that that toaster could last 300 years. Now granted, the toaster would probably cost $1,000 in today's world, but in the resource-based economy, the only thing it costs is the resources that it needed to make it and the automated systems that were initially in place. There might be an energy cost, but if you're running solar, wind, clean, natural energy systems, that's negligible over the long haul. Basically, as long as the sun exists, as long as geothermal exists, which is the life of the planet and the life of the star. So waste management is a very complex issue because you're going to redefine what is waste, but you're also at the same time going to redefine how you make stuff, how long you design to last as long as possible. So, I mean, technically speaking, if you had garbage, there would be automated systems that could come and pick it up for you. Like you would still do the drop it off at the curb kind of thing, but actually you wouldn't even have to do that if it was designed properly. You could have vacuum chutes in your house. You just drop it in and it sucks it down into a tube and drives it to the waste facility where it then would recycle and basically collect and separate and manage as much as possible. Now that's just an option to think about. The engineers that would design that in the city would do whatever's best for the terrain, the materials available, the resources that they have on hand. So that's a dynamic fluid issue based on research.
What about nuclear waste?
I wouldn't see much of a need for nuclear power in the first place. And so all the energy systems that I mentioned can cover the world many times over if they were actually implemented in a robust manner. You wouldn't need nuclear power facilities anymore.
We still have a lot of nuclear waste.
We do, and that's going to go away over time. It's going to have to stay where it is right now, but you would be able to stop making more.
Did you not see that TED talk Bill Gates gave when they were using nuclear waste to make energy?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to use nuclear waste to make much cleaner nuclear energy, so they would use up the nuclear waste.
Okay. So they're already thinking about how to deal with that. Okay. See, I mean, like I said, I don't have all of it, so it's glad that other people can contribute because now you get an idea what's out there. There's a significant technological potential to make life a lot better on this planet.
So as you mentioned, management is going to be some kind of based on computer system, which make accountability of all resources. And
Right. It's
some kind of planned economy where everything which is productive planned to be sustainable.
right. It's statistical analysis on an engineering level. The computer systems would know the population of the city. They would, and statistics would tell you how many visitors you get per year and when the peaks are. And so the systems would know when to slow down production, when to increase production. I mean, we do that. Think about traffic patterns in your city when you drive around. There is a computer governing how long those lights stay green or stay red. And like LA has a big one, a massive control facility. The computer knows when traffic is heavy, when it's light, when to shift the traffic patterns, and it does this organically. It kind of senses and feels, and it does this as it goes. So that would be the same kind of system that would manage the majority of the facilities. I mean, a lot of it's autonomous. You wouldn't even notice it was going on, but it would constantly be providing based on the population setup of the city. And you can, it would be responsible to maybe do a census every year of the city,